This is Speedstar Shorthand Dictation CD number 332. Get ready for speed number 503 and 504. Start. Friends, while extending a warm welcome to you to the annual general meeting of your company, I am happy to state that the optimism expressed by me at the last annual general meeting of your company on the progressive and pragmatic policies of our Prime Minister, Mr. Rajiv Gandhi, has been amply justified by our country's performance during the last 10 months. The economy achieved an overall growth of 5% against 4% in the previous year. Growth of the agricultural sector was 1% and that of the manufacturing sector 5% and that of the service sector 7% over last year. The experts are of the opinion that despite modest growth in the agricultural sector over the last 10 months, there is still a good possibility of 5% overall growth rate being achieved. This view is based on the behavior of agricultural production in India in the past, when after reaching a high level, it revolves around that level and then rises to a much higher level, pushing up the annual growth rate. Extension of farm by making tractors and other farm equipments within the reach of marginal farmers and greater use of fertilizers from the new plants shortly going on stream will go a long way in achieving higher levels of production and the desired rate of growth. The manufacturing sector growth rate will be ensured by new industrial capacities coming on stream and together with improvement in infrastructure and comfortable supply of raw materials, this would lead to a higher rate of industrial production. I am, however, concerned with the rate of inflation based on consumer price index, which it is feared might touch double digits this year. The liberalization era launched by the government is already having a favorable impact on the economy. Several more steps are under consideration. There is a sustained feeling of optimism and hope among all segments of society, and the people are looking forward to entering the 21st century as a contemporary nation. Hopefully, this mood will lead to balanced decision making by the business, encourage greater competition, and promote a more effective effort at cost control and quality upgradation. Our dynamic Prime Minister, while addressing the conference of state industry ministers last month on the problems of growth, remarked, and I quote here, "It is a question of controls versus control." Gentlemen, in all the four addresses which you have presented to me, you have expressed your loyalty to the King Emperor, and I must begin by thanking you for these expressions. You have used some very kind words of welcome to my wife and myself, for which we are both very grateful. As you have been kind enough to acknowledge, I have strong personal interest in the welfare of India, partly because it is the land of my birth and partly because I have spent more than 2 years in the Indian office. There I got not only some knowledge of Indian problems but a sympathy with the political aspirations of the Indian people. I therefore approach the problems which you have laid before me today with a full measure of interest and goodwill. From the several petitions which reach me from different parts of the province, there seems to be an idea that government possesses unlimited power and unlimited wealth. In fact, however, our financial resources are by no means equal to our needs, and even such money as we possess has to be taken from the pockets of the same people for whose benefit it is spent. Every demand, therefore, for financial assistance from government would mean increased taxation, the burden of which would have to be shared by the people who make the request. Both the resources and the powers of the government are restricted. I shall represent your needs to my colleagues, and they will, in turn, have to represent them to the Legislative Council, whose consent is required to the expenditure involved. First, there is the case of water supply. Here, I am glad to learn that water works system is in existence, towards the cost of which government makes a regular grant. The problem of rural water supply referred to by the district board is a local problem which will have to be solved locally. Government can help with expert advice, but they cannot provide grants for such a purpose. I am very sorry to hear of the financial condition of the local dispensary, but the government would not be justified in paying the salary of the assistant surgeon in charge. Stop.